Mhm. Hey, what's up, Vad? How's your day going? Yeah, what did you work out? Oh, nice, man. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that before. Oh yeah, I mean, you should make use of whatever resources they have available. Sort of trying to figure out what I'm gonna write today. As you can see, we've changed the backdrop. We've got some lovely Warhammer artwork. Well, let me turn the other way here. Get my head out of the way. So Sisters of Battle. Then I've got another one in here that's also Sisters of Battle, but ironically I don't have that army anymore. But the artwork's still cool, you know? Hey, welcome to everyone that's joining us here. Please feel free to say something in the chat and participate. Oh, you also notice on the bottom right hand corner of the screen we've got Living Rock Publications or Publishing. It's my self-created publishing imprint, I guess. But the silhouette's based on my turtle, or sorry, tortoise. Turtle's the water one. We had a picture of my tortoise from a long time ago, and I took his silhouette and made him immortal. Yeah, that's true. Oh man, that was terrible. None of them. Come on. Come on, this early on. All right. Okay, so at a bit of an impasse here with my writing. Yeah, it's true. It is you we're talking about, isn't it? So I should expect a bad pun at any second. But oh, I could tell ChatGPT to write a short story. Maybe it would. No, you actually on Kindle you have to check a box whenever there's AI involvement in the creation process, whether that's visuals or the wording. But trying to decide. Ever since I started writing, I've split between science fiction and fantasy. Yeah, that's true. What if I did just forget, right? Um, Also, maybe for streaming, talking with my hands and having them block my face isn't the best idea. No, that is true. I do. Unlike a lot of authors, I'm not extremely anti AI, right? Um, it's coming whether we like it or not. And I think learning to work it into your workflows is huge, just like any industry, right? Um, if you're wondering why my gaze is up and off to the right here, it's or I guess the viewers left. It's because I've got my other monitor up with the chat. But yeah, any industry is going to start implementing AI more heavily if they haven't already. And it's like, are there ethical concerns? Sure. Is that going to stop any of this? Not at all. And so I think as authors and creators of all kinds, you've got to learn to implement that into your workflow. And for lack of a better word, you just kind of have to get over the fact that it exists and do the best you can with what you have and where you are. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see how quickly we can get demonetized. I'd like to just be monetized first. That'd be probably a good first step. So I don't know. What do you guys think about AI in whatever industry you're in right now? Whether it's visual arts or coding or whatever, you think it's something overall good, overall bad? How are we feeling? Personally, love it. I don't see it fully replacing creative stuff, but I don't see the harm in embracing it. Yeah, it's kind of how I feel. Which is tricky, right? Because I get the argument, especially from visual artists, of having their work ripped off um, or ingested into training the AI models. On one hand, stuff like that, theft or piracy or whatever you want to say, has been around forever. And I view it as kind of a base level. Every art class I've ever taken, every artist I've ever spoken to, almost every. I'm sure there's exceptions I'm not remembering, but they tend to practice off of reference, right? Like they might find the classic artists everyone knows about, or whoever their favorite modern artist is, they might create their works based on the references of those artists or use them as inspiration or mimic their styles. And in a way, the same thing AI is generally doing, where it's drawing reference or reconfiguring or essentially making a parody of other created works. It's no better than what some humans have done. It just does it in a few seconds, right? Um, so I think there's a place for it in terms of the creative process. Yeah, see, your spider pup's a good example. It's a tool in the tool belt. It's great at some tasks and not so great or even counterproductive in others. Yeah, no, Stevie, soft lips, great name. You have a very good point there, right? Like if you're working on your house, sometimes you need a hammer, other times you need a drill. If you try and use your drill to hammer something, you might get the job done, but you might break your drill. uh, so I do think, it's got its uses in certain places. And there's always going to be kind of like with e-readers, e-readers didn't wipe out print books. I think there's always going to be some competitive edge to something that's knowingly human created. I don't know how long you'll be able to distinguish between what's human created and not, right? But I get what you're saying, especially if you look at like Cursor and uh, Grok or Chat GPT and all of that, right? They can whip out some good programs that function, right? But once you start getting too complex, you get a human in the loop somewhere. Anyway, so are you guys ready to hear my writing quandary here, or my going theory? Let me set the stage. All right. So when I started writing in like the mid 2010s, 2013, 14ish, really earnestly and taking it seriously, it was kind of more of a golden age of Kindle where it gonna say everyone seemed to be getting great. It was like a gold rush type scenario, right? So you went out there, you little 49ers, uh, verbal literary 49ers for those with a California education. You go with your little pan and you pan for gold, and you throw that gold up on Kindle. And maybe it's pyrite, right? But you know, early on, there's a lot of pyrite going around, but also some gold. And it's like it didn't seem hard to make money or get a really good side hustle or a living going off of Kindle. It was like if you jumped in on that early wave, you were that e-reader revolution and self-publishing really opening up and losing a lot of its stigma. What a time to be alive, right? For a creative type. So me, I was like, oh, I'm gonna write the best thing ever, probably bang out like some short stories. Then you write 3 short stories, you call it the Jax Jensen trilogy, you publish them. Uh, all right. My program is bespoke hand-coded tool made non-GMO code. Yeah, exactly. Non-GPT code. It's going to start being labeled on programs and charged a premium. It's like the coding version of organic. Human made is the new organic for code and literature and art. Where was I? Yeah, so I think I'm all cage-free coders. Okay, my audio is still good, right? Because my headset was just like, oh, power off. I mean, I guess you're responding, so I'm gonna answer my own question there. Anyway, so 2014 time frame. I'm like, just gonna bang out some sci-fi. My English teachers and everyone was always like, "Oh, you're good," which, you know, I always assumed it was a 50-50. They're embellishing to not hurt my feelings, but also to some degree, when you have those friends and stuff who will just tell you the truth, even if it hurts your feelings. Figured they had to at least be a little bit of that, right? At least a little. And I was like, damn, I write the Jax Jensen trilogy and short story novellas, like 10 to 15,000 words. I got edited with I think it was called Create Space at the time, and now it's not that anymore. Um, and I had my buddy do the artwork, which was unfortunate. It led to a little bit of a falling out at the time, but I think we're good now these days. At least I think we're good. And I didn't know that anything you publish will throw it up on Goodreads as well, because Amazon has Goodreads. And so I tried, threw that up there. I was like, oh, okay, it didn't really bring in much money, but nevertheless, I persisted, right? And so I kept writing, but I was flip-flopping between sci-fi and fantasy, which is probably a huge faux pas, right? Unless you prolifically write. But I never bothered to find my core audience, and then joined the army. Kept writing though, and eventually the Jax Jensen trilogy became full-length novels, and the short stories can't be bought on Kindle anymore, but you can find their covers. And yeah, so I think part of my struggle in this space, just being completely honest, is that I flip between genres and there's not always read through, right? Some people like sci-fi, some people like fantasy, some people like both. And out of those people that like both, there's going to be a certain percentage that don't like my writing style, um, or my or any subsection of that character development story, how gruesome some things can be. Um, so now that I'm revisiting or reassessing my writing career, it's like, what do we do here? Because I've gotten good reviews on the Jax Jensen trilogy on Amazon. Last I checked, the first one, 23 reviews. Do I know some of the reviewers? Sure. Any author does. Uh, but I know a minority of the reviewers that I'm aware of, right? And with that kind of anonymity, even if I know who the reviewers are, if they didn't leave any kind of rating or comment, I just see the stars, I think there's not much incentive for them to embellish. So I kind of trust the ratings I have up there right now. But do I stick with sci-fi? Or do I push through and do fantasy? Because I can't keep flipping around. Clearly it's not working and something's got to change. I'm leaning towards fantasy. And here's my theory, and here is kind of what I'm curious to hear viewers' inputs on. I think maybe I've got absolutely no data to back this up, by the way. It's just a hunch. I think fantasy in all shades, like romance, romantasy, just good old classic adventure fantasy, epic fantasy, whatever, right? A lit RPG, any of that. Also, shout out to Seth Ring. Modern day military thrillers. I could do that. One of my buddies did say that some of my favorite writing was my dabbling in modern type thrillers. Um, which isn't bad, right? I feel like if you're one of those people that's concerned about, dreaming of potential Hollywood adaptation someday, right? It's like, okay, if you write something that takes place like a modern thriller in our world right now, and it doesn't require studios of any kind to blow tons of money on CGI like it would for sci-fi or fantasy, um, comparatively, then it's like, okay, maybe that makes future, if it's good modern thrillers, right? Maybe that makes adaptations a little more likely because the value to produce would be lower, I think. Anyway, so here's why I'm leaning fantasy. I think a lot of stuff that's been sci-fi is rapidly just becoming our modern day, right? Um, Back when you had Asimov and like iRobot and all that stuff, you'd see. I remember watching Will Smith and iRobot and seeing, the three laws of robotics and all that, or any other kind of sci-fi, creepy android-based stuff like the androids from Aliens, right? Um, the Wayland Yutani androids. It's like if you asked younger me, if I was like, "Oh, will Tesla bot ever be a thing, or Unitree or whatever?" I'd be like, "No way." Right? Like maybe someday, sure, but not in my lifetime, probably. I kind of leaned more towards that. In my opinion, fantasy is easier to write as you don't have to make up the technology of the far future, and the tech you make up can be magic influenced tech and not have to bend physics. Yeah, that's a good point. I've listened to various takes on the tech and stuff in sci-fi, especially if you like hard sci-fi, you've got to really stick to physics and stuff. But at a certain point, uh, futuristic tech is essentially just magic, right? Like the Force in Star Wars, it's essentially just magic, and then you shove midichlorians in it and let Disney ruin it with like episode 7, 8, and 9, except for Rogue One, which was good. But they both are kind of magic in their own way, right? But the reason I'm kind of leaning fantasy, I'm not going to say because it's easier, but I believe and I want to write books that are an escape to people. And if you're doing a lot of sci-fi, yeah, The Force Awoken. If you're doing a lot of sci-fi, a lot of that tech there that people were like, "Oh, that's never going to happen," right? Like the Asimov stuff, right? Not in my lifetime. Or the what was that one? I watched it with my wife. It was like Megan Fox in it, and she's like a killer robot, and of course the uh whole cliche like, "Oh, I'm gonna gotta kill people to protect the humans," like very three laws of robotics type thing, right? I think a lot of that stuff is just quickly becoming reality, and it's not necessarily serving as an escape for people, as maybe starting to stress a certain amount of the audience out, right? What do you think? Do you think there's some teeth to that? Oh man, I put one of these little plastic roll pads in my office. I keep butting up against it. Also move a lot, goddamn. But I mean, yeah, okay, so you get that. That kind of makes sense, right? Like the rapid pace, the unimaginable pace, which kind of given up trying to predict, like AGI, right? Like everyone's talking about actual artificial intelligence, and Sam Altman, all of them are talking about. It's like, is that, how close is that, right? Like who knows? But now when I write my Keeper from Jax Jensen, the sassy sentient AI assistant, even when I wrote that in like 2015ish, that wasn't super there, right? And now you've got articulate AI assistants that you can have personalities. They can be jerks, right? It's like, geez. Plus, I can see the tech ideas that we can imagine might feel bleak to some people, or limited, or too far flung. Yeah, I think the bleak part for sure. I think there's generally a doomist sense. We had to pick between utopian views of AI and apocalyptic views, right? Like, who's seen the memes where it's like, oh, be polite to your AI, so then when it, you know, I'm gonna be polite to Grok or ChatGPT, so when it becomes sentient, uh, if it's not verging on that already, um, it doesn't kill, it kills me last, right? Kind of like in high school. This is also gonna sound messed up. In high school, where you have that one kid you're kind of worried about, and you're like extra nice to them. So you're like, yeah, here, have a Snickers. I bought you Snickers from the vending machine, right? I got you a Coke that's not the Diet Coke that California banned in their health push. Um, so you had to go in the teacher's lounge to try and get it. It's like, just remember I was nice to you. Like, yeah, see, no, you thank Alexa and Google Home, and part of it's like unintentional, right? We're talking to it in a way where I swear one of these times I'm actually going to write during one of these streams. But we're early on. We're still good. We're getting to know each other more. And I think that's an interesting topic, right? Yeah. How many of you thank, even just unconsciously, if it's a verbal thing, right? Like, yeah. Well, no, this is important because it's like, I'm gotta pick the genre I want to focus on. I enjoy writing both. I could write both. Just, don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing, right? Like maybe someday I'll start alternating again. Like let's just get to a, a palpable readership and like a, a tangible community, right? Um, Fantasy with time travel sci-fi visitors. That's the thing. I mean, what do you think, Stevie Soft Lips and the Dean? Is there you think there's any validity to my assertion that maybe fantasy might be more escapist in our times and therefore something to lean in on? Or do you enjoy reading works where it's like, oh wow, that's a cool piece of technology. We might have that tomorrow, right? Like, see, here was some sci-fi started chat. All these names are placeholder names. It's kind of cliche, right? What the hell is this Isekai? I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Is Ekia? Someone please phonetically type that out. Ishi, Ishi, Ikai, Kai, Ishikai. We're gonna pretend I'm saying that right. Is that kind of like the Sword Art Online stuff where the what? Isekai. Oh man, Isekai. Thank you. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, I gotcha. I have no idea if anyone could hear that, but Vad just gave me a call on Discord and gave me a complete rundown of Isekai. I get it. It's interesting. Here's a sci-fi piece I was kind of twiddling with yesterday, just to get the juices flowing. Jet, kind of a cliche name, sure. Fett, maybe inspired by Fett. It is sci-fi. I don't know. Maybe subconscious Star Wars. Suddenly unexpected Star Wars. Hashtag unexpected Star Wars. Um, but I'm really trying to work on like my character work here and messing with sentence structure and just pushing grammar, making the writing seem more narrative rather than just like I don't even know how to describe what I'm trying to say. Um, oh, nice. Okay, well, thanks for stopping by, Vad. But we've got the opening scene here. IFFP is like thinking about my Jax Jensen trilogy, the Intergalactic Federation of Free Planets. So the prominent government in that role. But as far as you didn't get too far in this, but you always have the Han Solo type smuggler. His ship is there. There's trouble with the law. We've got a picket ship coming up to tell him, prepare to board. PP 109. I think 109 is a reference to a boat in Vietnam, the Swift boats. But made some name. Guess it sounds vaguely Soviet bloc-ish. Uh oh, unexpected controversy. Made up a completely pulled out of my butt a mining company because, of course, mining. It's like how many cliches can you just shove in 5 paragraphs, right? 6 paragraphs. But I did it. The sticky throttle, right? Sticky gear shift. So I don't even know if ships have gear shift. They've got to, right? Assuming they have gears, I guess they don't have to. Yeah, bring green flashing lights because I was like, oh, red and blue is too cliche. But that's kind of where I'm at in writing right now. Really, instead of just forging ahead with something, I'm really stuck in how, in what direction to take the writing craft, right? I love it. Well, I keep doing it. You just got to pick fantasy or sci-fi. That's the thing. So I'm leaning. I have an unpublished Gilded Age fantasy. I want to say steampunk because I feel like it's kind of overdone. I don't know. Turn of the century punk. Let's go, boy. Yeah, thanks. Dudley Two Toes, which one of my good friends here, very talented artist. Actually, some of the original Jax Jensen Gilded Punk. Is that a thing? Some of the original Jax Jensen artwork was done by my buddy here. Let me see if we can take a little tour. We'll tour down memory lane without flashing my desktop to everyone. Just ignore the whole left side of the whole nightmare that is my desktop's organization. But you know, got this right here, some of the original Jax Jensen stuff. It's gonna be a flashback. Is is Gilded Punk a thing? It's not a thing. I could make it a thing. Is Gilded Punk a thing? Yeah, here's some of the original like inspiration art DIY ideas for Department of Inquiry. Pretty cool stuff. Fantasy, flying ships, Clane in the Journal in the Stone. That's the eventually became the cover art for that. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at as far as writing goes. I will have a short coming up where I talk about the cap cycle a little more in depth. I mentioned it during the first stream. So writing concept from one of the instructors that Brandon Sanderson also mentions in some of his interviews, Dave Wolverton or Dave Farland, kinetic audio visual, just clues for writing to get your reader hooked. What's hilarious is a Trader's Game cover we did. People online were correcting others. That was actually Halo concept art. Yeah. I never heard that story. Halo concept art. That's good. So I would take Halo like sales and do that. But but yeah, no, I never heard that story. That's crazy. Dudley Two Toes is the artist behind all of that. I wasn't trying to dox him or anything. But here, let me see if I can share this again real quick. Oh man, which one is it? Yep. Here's we've got this short story that kind of started to take off toward the end of last year about an innkeeper. It's that necromancer one, right? I was like, I want to write something essentially like Stormwind. I've always loved Stormwind from World of Warcraft and kind of that cozy vibes. But the cozy stuff originally was like, oh, let's write some cozy fantasy, right? Like, you just want to be there, the atmosphere, the vibes, right? Because I was like, yeah, I'd live in Stormwind, I guess. So I want to write something in Stormwind, but quickly just my love of Stormwind and necromancy just whoop, ah, and I've got this kid Lucian and Master Calidor. Anyway, this kid works in an inn in whatever the royal district equivalent is, and he can't even reanimate a dead rat, right? Because you gotta have progression. I've never been a necromancer, so I don't know what their progression track looks like, but I'd imagine summoning a reanimating a dead rodent. It's got to be entry level, right? Like that's like if necromancers had a DMV, that's like their equivalent of hey, parallel park this bitch. And you're just like, oh, I can't. Which I've heard that you don't even have to do anymore. So kids today don't know how lucky they have it. Not having to parallel park, if that's true. But this is kind of what I'm feeling. Not necessarily going gilded punk route because that story's already done. It's edited. I would say it's ready for publishing once, but it needs a cover, right? Like but it's there in our hearts, in our gilded hearts. And I'll probably have more on that. That's the one that's got the cattlemancy in it. Because who doesn't like cattlemancy? And no, it's not summoning cows out of the ground, although that would be cool. Yeah. Halo concept art, that still kind of boggles my mind. Was that on like ArtStation or something, or Reddit? I posted on Reddit early on, and I think I linked to your ArtStation. I think people were getting mad that like they dug your name out. I was like, you getting mad at me for something? I was like, what? I linked it to it's my book cover. Come on, right? I think they thought I was trying to steal credit for it, and I was like, no, I'm just sharing my book cover. But you know, I've got with cozy fantasy in mind. I was like, inns are cozy, right? Innately, I feel like that's an innate. You're an inn with two ends. You have a certain level of coziness factor, right? You're like, oh man, that's cozy AF. So your cozy factor's up here. Where I started to, on this very objective scale of coziness, with this being peak cozy, like the Bed Bath and Beyond of fantasy, and this being an army barracks. Some random Reddit post, and the guy was telling everyone notes how stupid. I mean, what a compliment, right? Like, yeah, that's a compliment. I'd be like, all right, yeah, thanks, man. I guess it does look Halo-ish. Yeah, it could have been worse, but kind of going over this, I swear, one of these live writing sessions, I'm going to actually write live. But you can see I was trying to be real diligent here. We've got the Bed Bath and Beyond level coziness, and I quickly tanked that down to Army Barracks level coziness, which, speaking from personal experience, is not. Like, those words don't go in the same sentence. Any of my military folk out there will know. Like, there's probably black mold in this inn, but everyone's in it anyway, so that's where we're at. So I tanked any kind of coz factor by throwing a necromancer in, who's not even embodied in this. I think, yeah, glowing a sickly green full of malevolence, full of dark magics, not just singular, plural, all of the dark magics, full of hate, right? Like, there's no cozy here, so we can see how quickly I just went off the rails. Yeah. So I don't even know why I was humoring myself. Like, oh, I'm gonna write cozy fantasy. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be like Legends and Lattes. Everyone's gonna love it and want to live there. And it's a boom. Let's throw necromancer in it because that's cozy. And so, here we go. What's going through my head here? A little behind the scene. BTS. Lucian Vallow, right? Huh? Doesn't that sound kind of like maybe Lucius Malfoy? At least in the L, it starts with a Lu, right? Lucian Vallow, necromantic acolyte. Daylights is a bellhop. That's the other thing too. Like, I I don't know what innkeeper titles are. So this is all stuff where you got to go back and do your research early on. It's like, get words down, just get a product like together, a story together, right? Like, if you listen to Stephen King or Brandon Sanderson or any of that, it's like you just write. Like, that first whole draft, you just bang it out, right? The fattened lamb. I think that might just be a shameless reference to the slaughtered lamb or something that I think is an inn in Stormwind. And yeah. It's where the necromancer. It's where the warlock trainer is in Stormwind. Like you go down the spiral and you're like, oh, this is really cool. At least I thought that. Preeminent, right? Spelling isn't what you see when you read a complete book of mine is not. It's after copious amounts of editing and spell check, and my editor crying that he's got to fix my poor punctuation and dialogue. Whatever. Yeah. So here's what we learned. This is all I'm trying to get across with the scene. Brother, I can't hear whoever you're talking with. Should I? It's just me right now. But my friend David, when Vad doxed, sorry, David, when he was talking in the chat about Isekai, can't even say it right anymore. He called me and told me how to say it. I just don't care. But he hit me up on Discord to verbally tell me just how bad my pronunciation was. Which, you know, I would like that. I think that'd be a cool feature. All right, what do you guys think? Loop my system sound. Make sure Discord loops through. So that if any of my friends call to correct something dumb I say, we all get to hear it. We're all there. Or we all learn. As the Dean pointed out, I probably should have pulled up Isekai. Ishikai? What? Yeah, AM station call. I could be a talk show host. The Matt Hour. With all my viewers here. So this is my attempt. One thing I'm absolutely terrible at as a writer is just doing the bookkeeping. One of those guys that I'll get to the end and I don't remember. Isekai, thank you. I should. Yep. We don't need to revisit this, guys. I can't say it. Everyone can read it. Yep. Okay. But that's what I'm trying to do. Here's bookkeep more. We see Lucian try and fail again. There's a concept in writing called the try-fail cycles, right? And general concept is to have someone try and fail at something 3 times, succeed on the 3rd try. Is it arbitrary? Sure, I guess. I think there's a similar concept in comedy, right? Like something can be funny, notably funny, like 2 or 3 times, and then after that, you're like, okay, stop, right? You're beating a fattened lamb to death. There you go. Nice little plug for my inn. But yeah, do inns even have bellhops? Is this too modern? These kind of anachronisms are what keep me awake at night here. So anyway, Lucian starts out an absolute chump. Like, try harder, he commanded. Like, come on. Can't even reanimate a rat? A dead rat? How are you going to bring up a dragon or a skeleton or something? Right? Like, what a chump. And it's like, talk about built-in character development. Like, low-hanging fruit of character development. What do I have to do as an author? Just by the end of this book, make it so the old boy here can at least reanimate a rat. Ideally, something a little cooler, but rats are cool in their own right. Blast from the past. Yeah. Well, specifically, what do you remember here? Just to make sure I'm on the same boat. I want to be on this journey with you together. The failed rat necromancer. Yeah. Right. So this has been rattling around in the old noggin here for quite a bit. I was like, God damn, I have to write. I've got to do 5 playthroughs of Baldur's Gate 3, and every single one has to start with me being a different class. And inevitably, everyone knows just becoming a necromancer. And then I get to Act 3. You get to Act 3 and fail at whatever that one bit is, where I'm like, oh, I've got to get the Dance Macabre. And we don't. And then I go, okay, next playthrough, I'm going to be a different class. And then we do our next playthrough, and then surprise, I'm a necromancer. Yeah, choice is an illusion. All my choices lead to necromancer. Even in writing. This wasn't clear in the Jax Jensen trilogy at all, but he's a necromancer. I'm retconning it. If J.K. Rowling can retcon, I can retcon where it. He's a necromancer. A space necromancer. I do have Goss 292, which takes place in the Jax Jensen universe, the Jensen verse, if you will. Deals with bioinformatics, which is it's a bit of a stretch, but at least in the case of this book, it's how do you get binary and computer networks to talk with biological things, right? Like, so it's like, oh, have AI take over zombies. So there, even my writing leads to zombies and necromancy. Maybe I should just write Shaun of the Dead. Actually, no, I've already done that. It's a fantasy book called God damn, what's it called? That's when you know it's good, when you can't even remember your own book. Yeah, let's see here. Which, talk about something that needs updating. This website. Holy moly. Right. Yeah, grave circumstances. That's the one. Right here. Grave circumstances. It's got Eli's Elixorium, which, much to my chagrin, this was another attempt to write kind of a cozy fantasy that failed. And then I saw Legends and Lattes, and I was like, God damn it. Good for him. But also, that's kind of my Elixorium. Here's the issues here. We want to break down writing art. What's the issue? I made this cover. That aside, aside from my expert artwork, which with this dude doing like the thriller, right? Like, got these zombies here doing like the thriller. Why is this not updating? Oh, that's why. Yeah. Okay, so YouTube's live streaming is quite literally just fixed on the tab. Here, let me. Let's do this real quick. All right. Bear with me here. Okay. Yeah, we got this guy doing the thriller. You still love this zombie cover? Okay, well let me break down let me break down the issue here. Thank you. like, okay, I was proud of it at the time, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like you look back at your old work and it's like, ooh, yikes. But at that time, the past you loved it, right? You were proud of it. So I think if whenever you look back at your old stuff, you should give yourself a bit of grace for the design of it and the artwork. Sure, I'll give past Matt some grace. He was proud of it. He had his iPad and Procreate and a twinkle in his eye. And so, what's wrong with this? I just said that Eli's Elixorium, one stop potion shop. All right. Okay. So, we've got a potion shop. Kennard Frost wants to open his first Elixorium. And if anyone's interested in hearing kind of the idea behind this, look, an interspecies romance, his gnome wife. Like, we're getting really avant garde here. But you don't see this cover and you're not like, oh, a potion shop in a city, right? Legends and Lattes, great cover. You see that cover, you know, you're getting Legends, you've got an orc, whatever else. You're seeing Legends, you're seeing Lattes, right? Like, look at this. You got Legends, you got Lattes. Like, look at that. Boom, 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 boom. It exudes coziness. You're over here, no coz, right? Cold. In my head, after I wrote this, it was like, oh man, I just wrote Fantasy Shaun of the Dead. Zombies are cozy if you're also a zombie, I guess, or if you're yeah. So I was right wrong. Someday I'm gonna redo this book cover, and it's gonna actually look like a potion shop. But pretty much, old boy here opens his first potion shop up, the equivalent of Fantasy Starbucks, and it just so happens to be at the epicenter of a zombie apocalypse. And so this book cover, if it's just purely a zombie book and it's Halloween, sure, nailed it. Wasn't exactly the vision I had for the Eli's Elixorium series. I used to work at Starbucks, and I was thinking about that one day. Here's the backstory for this book no one wanted. Look here, even book one, right? So that tells you that there are plans. There are plans here, and you might ask, where are the other books? It's like they don't exist. There's still just book one. But never write yourself into a corner, as some people may do. So sequel potential, I think, is the technical term. Anyway, I used to work at Starbucks, and it was kind of mind-boggling to me. I had this epiphany. Right, exactly. Cool art, but not the right cover to illustrate the book. So anyone that wants a zombie book, they pick this up and they're like, "Oh crap, it's got some zombies in it, but not quite what I wanted." And then all the people who are like, "Dang, I really wish I had a book about a potion shop." They don't stop and click on this cover and read the description because look, there's no potion shop. There's no legend or latte here. There's no Eli or Elixorium. There's 3 really stiff zombies and an incomplete fence. Like too much lattes and too little zombies. Yeah, 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 exactly. So I was thinking deeply about my time working at Starbucks. I was like Jordan Peterson level epiphanies where it seems like, dude, you're thinking way too hard about this. But I felt real smart, so I just kept going with it. I was like, wow, Starbucks is one corporation, right? You're like, oh, yeah, good job, big brain. Duh. Like, but one corporation has to adhere to all these different regulations and laws everywhere in the world. That means someone in some part of this single organization is in charge of keeping track of whatever laws are in the UK, whatever laws are in the Middle East, like wherever Starbucks has a footprint. whatever laws are in. Does China have a Starbucks? I don't know. I was like, now apply that to fantasy, right? Like, oh man, I'm gonna open an Elixorium. So I started with book 1, the founding store. I was like, now just take the concept. You got one organization, the Elixoriums. All of Eli's Elixoriums, all of them, right? Some poor schlep has to keep track of all the regulation. Like, hey, we're gonna go open one up in the Goblin Village, which one probably wouldn't ever happen, but I'm the author, I can make it happen. So we're gonna open an Elixorium in the Goblin Village. I hope our liability insurance, like our property insurance, is on point, right? Or, oh man, I hope we have a lot of organic products for our Elixorium in the Elf Village, right? To pay their environmentalist tax. I don't know, right? Like elves. Or it's like, oh man, how do we deal with this? A dragon burned down our wagon train that had the Eye of Newt that was supposed to resupply our shop, and now we're out of it. Like, oh man, third world fantasy world crisis, right? Or whatever the fantasy equivalent of first world problem is. Like, oh, I can't get my Eye of Newt latte now, or my love potion that requires Eye of Newt. Oh no. So that's where this whole thing started. I was like, oh, sweet. And some of the other fantasy books that take place in the Winds of Terramore universe, which is, you know, Journal and Stone, some of that artwork from earlier. Shout out to Gary. We've owned Royal Road. So I tried dabbling on Royal Road here. But some of these books, I've got another Klein novel that is finished and just sitting in one of my somewhere in my hard drive here. And it's like there's an Elixorium that shows up in that. They walk past one, it's abandoned, so I don't know what happened to that one, but it's there. So I'm trying to interlink everything, right? But there's our writing lesson today. Make sure you spend a lot of time thinking about what your cover is going to say. And if you're going for Legends and Lattes and you give a whatever this is, like how big does the spider have to be to make this web? Right, let's just really think about this for a second. That's got to be a huge ass spider. Then the zombie, well, like, why even put this gate up? What did we accomplish? They can walk around. This guy very clearly can do his thriller dance right around here, right? I don't know. But covers are important. People do judge a book by their cover. And as I wrap this stream up tonight, maybe that's maybe that's the moral of the story. People judge a book by its cover. And that, well, may be an eye-catching cover, right? With the contrast, you've got some light. Let me dig deep into my design theory lessons that Gary's been courteous, and Gary and Larry have both given me feedback here throughout my artistic journey. But you know, I draw the eye. Look at this light here. Look at this. Boom. Draw the eye. I'm creating a frame. Sort of pointing at the title. I can't even BS my way through an explanation of this. But moral of story, people will judge a book by its cover. Think about what you want your cover to say. And also, hi, I'm back. How many words were written? That's aggressive. Permaband. No, I'm kidding. I don't even have moderators. Can you imagine? But Zero words were written, Stevie Soft Lips. But someday they will. Maybe I just talk too much. But I hope that was enjoyable for you guys. Thank you to everyone that participated. I'm going to aim to stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for about an hour. I am enjoyed. Good. Good. See, we're 2 for Gary had fun. I'm not even going to ask. I'm just mandating it. I'm just telling you, everyone that's viewing this, you had fun. And if you don't think you had fun, you're not paying attention enough. But thanks again. Thank you for bearing with me as I go through this little journey here. We're going to get... Oh, you own this book? Hell yeah. I will get a better webcam and a better microphone so I don't have this here. And I already upgraded. I'm following through. This office, way better than the background in the first stream. This artwork, way better than background music. Okay, we need background music. If I just like recorded my voice mumbling stuff is like ASMR. Do I have a career in ASMR? What else did we do? We figured out... Well, we figured out why the watermark is a tortoise, right? So a watermark over here. And drink some scotch. Yeah, that was my drink tonight. Was fruit citrus blast or whatever. Got to work on a setup for Warhammer painting. That's true. I do have some of my Warhammer models that got shoved aside here. Like here's an old mortar team that I painted. Is that even right? It's pretty cool. Yeah, we'll get a painting set up. I do want to try and have other people pop in too. I was thinking maybe Wednesdays could be a Warhammer Wednesday. Have guests pop in to talk about stuff. Maybe I could convince Steve to talk about writing code, or old Dudley Two Toes or the Dean to talk a little bit about art design, and maybe we can find where some concepts overlap with the theory of writing. Right? We gotta keep it. We gotta tie it back to writing. No, we don't. We don't have to tie it back to writing. I think as long as we talk 90% writing, which we'll work on that. In Warhammer. Well, they think we're good. They can't throw us in jail for that. The YouTube live police can't get mad at me if I don't talk about writing nonstop. But I agree. There is a Warhammer setup coming. And some shorts. I do want to break out little concepts I talk about, like maybe a more coherent talk about book covers. Like, man, that's coming to a short near you. Background music coming to a short near you, and a live stream. Moderators? I don't think anyone could ever moderate this chat here. You guys are too wild. Piano jazz. Could be down for piano jazz and scotch drinking. That'd be pretty funny. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you had a great day. I hope you enjoyed this little sneak peek. Ooh, look at this. PowerShell. VS Code. Oh my. Huh. Imagine that. All right. Well, please leave a comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you'd like future episodes to be about, or streams. Or if you just enjoy the chatting. I do just enjoy the chatting. It's pretty fun hearing myself talk. So, thanks.